Welcome to Beyond the Deck. I'm Mike Peterson. Joining me is my co-host, Holly Allender. Holly, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me here tonight,
Oh,
Mike.
this is going to be so much fun. People are in for a real treat. I know they are. Between you and I, we've covered so many different topics that it was time for us to get together and to do a show. Now, folks, you're seeing a static image of Holly right now simply because she's continuing to get things set up for her video side, but she's right here. So we're going to have a very good time this evening. You mentioned something, probably even a couple of months ago, that really piqued my curiosity. You mentioned using magic and tarot at the same time to create something. And you gave me a little bit of an understanding about it, but it floored me because I'd never thought of mixing the two. I don't think a lot of people would. What
I would
brought you
say
to do
in
that?
in well in modern times, I would say in the way that we do tarot nowadays, most of us see it for just divination. But back in the early days when the Rider Waite deck was first created back in the early 1900s, there were groups of folks called ritual magicians,
Hmm.
and some folks may have heard of the Golden Dawn. Um, Arthur Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith were members of the Golden Dawn,
Hmm.
and they were ritual magicians. They were folks that used the tarot not just for divination, but for magic to create things, to bring things into existence. To as Donald Michael Craig, who was a member of the Golden Dawn, and I was once married to, Don said that magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with your will, using means not currently understood by traditional Western science. And so, using the tarot, you can help bring in what you want.
Now,
You can make a wish and do the same thing, but can you do it as powerfully as you can with the tarot?
my a caveat that I'm going to tell people, if they're thinking
Yeah.
magic, this is not Harry Potter magic.
No.
Okay. So in your daily life, what do you count as magic? And I know that I listened to everything that you just said, but how would you
Right.
encapsulate that in your life?
I would say there are times when I need some help at I need some protection at the office. And it's not that anybody's doing anything intentionally bad. I just need to set a boundary and I need some help setting that boundary.
Hmm.
And so I will use a spell that I've created. It's a 9 card spread, and I will set this framework up. I will gather my energy, if you will. I will focus what the intent is that I want this thing to do,
Hmm.
and I will release that intention to those cards, which kind of helped guide me to create this mental image that helped me focus my intent, focus my will. And when I was ready, I let it go to the universe. And then I did the next important thing. I believed that it was going to work. I believed that what I just did is going to work. And I continued to feed that belief.
A lot of what you are saying is, in its own way, what a lot of people today are saying, what they call manifesting.
Sure. It can be similar ideas, just done with different tools.
Hmm.
For some of us, it's hard to physically to picture what it is that you want. Well, we have 78 pictures in the tarot. Surely there's one in there that could encapsulate part of your dream, part of what it is you want to accomplish.
Hmm.
And so using that card as your focal point can help you create that spell, create that energy, release your will to the universe to let the universe know what you want. The other great thing about the tarot is that you can take that card and have it set up every day as a reminder of the magic that you started. And you keep feeding that intention. And it's powerful to see those results come about.
I would agree. It's one of the
Yeah.
biggest things when people If they're working on manifestation, they've got to not only believe, but they need to be able to see progress, what's happening, what's going on.
Right.
Now, you say the word spell,
Yes.
and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to stop and say, that's evil, or that's this, or that's that. It's a lot of preconditioning, you know. It's not
Right.
it's not this Eye of Newt, and you don't have this huge cauldron making a spell, and it's not. Oh, there have been a lot of shows, TV shows. Oh, Charmed was a big one. You
I'm
know,
not Sabrina Spellman. No.
so
I'm not worshiping the devil. No.
and that's the thing. People need to
Yeah.
know. So when you say
Right.
a spell, can you walk me through what a basic spell is or does or its components of?
Okay. So think of a spell. Have you ever made a wish? You wished for something. And some days that wish is, oh, I just wish the rain wouldn't rain today. And it didn't rain.
Hmm.
And that felt like a light wish. Oh, I wish I could get this job. And that's a stronger energy. That's a stronger pull. And you can feel the difference between the two. Or I really want somebody in my life that I can love and that I could cherish. And that's a stronger energy. And you can make those wishes. And it's all about the energy that you're putting out there, right?
Hmm.
So spells are more of a set way of pulling that energy together, making an intention known to the universe. Because I believe that everything's connected. We're all connected. Every being, every molecule, everything is connected. And by saying what it is that you want, you're going to get it.
Hmm.
And that's really scary for some people that, we can work on those issues. But a spell is a recipe, if you will, of telling you, I want to get a new job. Here is a spell that will help you formulate your question or your request, formulate what tools you would need, if any, in this case, tarot cards,
Hmm.
and then what mindset should you be in? How do you get into that mindset? And then how do you let it go? And how do you keep believing it? And so I have a whole list of this stuff, but basically, a spell helps you become clear about your goals. It helps you get concise about what you want. It helps you remain focused, and it helps you get emotional. Do you understand what I mean by emotional?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you want to put everything into this. You want to feel it. You want that person in your life. You want somebody to love in your life. Are you really going to sit there and just go, I want somebody to love me? No, you're going to put some energy into it. You're going to put into it what you want. And so the more realistic you make it, the more you wrap yourself up in the image of what it is, the better. And what better way to work with images than with the tarot?
See,
So,
now what you just described is an awful lot of what I teach people when we talk about manifesting, because we're
mhm.
doing many of the same things. And I tell people, you've got to set your intention, you've got to put your desire into it. And like you, well, I want somebody to love. Well, what you're going to attract is not going to be what you really wanted, you know?
Right.
So you've got to give it the energy, you've got to give it that piece of passion. So we're talking about really extremely similar things.
Yes. Just different ways. For me, this is more of a physical way to connect with what it is that I want that feels so nebulous.
Hmm.
It's that formula. It's step one, step two, step three. And you can even expand, and if we get into rituals, we can talk about that later. It's a bigger spell, but it's something that you can do at a moment's notice. It's something you can do with a lot of planning, but it's a tool in our toolbox that helps. And if you look at the tarot cards, the very first after the Fool is the magician. And what's on the magician's table, traditionally, it's all the tools that they need to perform magic. which represents the tarot in themselves. So even the very first card shows that this is a magical tool to use. It's just over the years, it's been the intent has shifted. People are using it strictly for divination, which is totally fine. Love it for that.
Mm-hmm.
I use it every day, except for maybe Saturdays because I forget. But I use these all the time, and it's been really powerful to do a tarot spell and watch the results come about more quickly than I would have expected.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you find because that is that you are focusing more or that you are adding more energy in a different way
I,
or a better, I don't want to say a better way, but just in a non-convoluted way?
I think it is more of an intention that the non-convoluted way is just it's more of the intention, the fact that I've brought a focus
Mm-hmm.
to a situation. Let's say I let's say I wanted to get a new job, and this happened years ago. This really did happen years ago, back in 2009 when everybody got laid off. I was one of them. In that big, huge market crash, and so I needed to get a job, and finding a job was hard. And I was in Los Angeles, and me and my 8 million neighbors were all looking for not for jobs, and I did magic to get the job I finally got, and that's how you and I met.
I remember. I remember
Yes,
being at the company. I remember talking to you. We had some conversations even then that were
yes,
just, it just kind of blew my mind because back then, now this is what, 15 years ago?
yeah, yeah. It's
Maybe
been a while.
16? It's been a little while. But back then, my mind was not truly open to a lot of different aspects of what the metaphysical universe is or what is really going on. So what you were telling me, I'm sitting here, I'm scratching my head, I'm going, okay, I understand you. I don't know if I believe you, but I understand you. But over the years, in dealing with so many people that I've dealt with, in helping so many people, in talking with cultures around the world, you can't help but not see what's right there in front of you. And some of the things that you were saying,
Right.
just, I went back into my mind, I'm like, oh my God, this is what she meant. Well, yeah, dummy, that's exactly what she was talking about. You
Well,
know?
I think it's also just it takes us out of the victimhood that sometimes we find ourselves in. We feel like the world is against us. We feel like the cards are stacked against us, and we don't feel like we have the power to do it. So manifestation is one way to do it, and for some folks that works really well.
Hmm.
It makes sense to them. For me, working with tarot cards and other tools like the tarot cards, also makes a lot of sense. And I'm also a person that likes steps. I like I like a path. The thing that makes it difficult when doing magic or even manifestation is that the belief it's going to happen. There are so many people, I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure you know, that as soon as they let go of that intent to the universe, they're like, it's never going to happen. Well, there you go. You just sent out another intention. It's not going to happen
Nope.
because you just negated all that work.
It's, uh, and you're right, this is where people get tripped up an awful lot.
Yeah,
They, they set the intention and they let it go. And for a couple of days, they are gung ho and everything
yes,
is peachy keen. And then something happens. That's never going to happen. Well, no, now it's not. And it's not to tell people that they're doing something wrong or incorrect. But
right.
once you begin a process, you have to finish it. You have to see it through to its completion. Well, it doesn't matter whether you're baking a cake or doing the laundry.
Right,
You don't throw the
right,
laundry in the washer and then just leave it sit there. No, you've got to turn it on, add soap, and then when that's done, you've got to dry your clothes. There's a
right.
process. And people
So,
fall apart in part of that process, so it doesn't work. However, the people that you and I have seen and that we've known and we've worked with, they finish the process and they receive, if not exactly what they were looking for, something so incredibly close that it's
Right.
like, okay, I'm perfectly good with that.
Right.
I'm manifesting $100 and you end up getting 86. Are you really going to complain that you didn't get your $100? There are a
Yeah.
lot of people that will.
Right.
It didn't work. I didn't get my $100. Well, how much did you get? 86. Really? You went from nothing to 86 and you're going to bitch about 14 bucks? Really? Okay. Now,
I think,
go ahead.
go ahead. I was just going to say, I think that doubt and fear, I feel like that's more society based. That if something doesn't instantly happen, if you don't get that instant call back for the job, or you don't get a match on your love app, whatever you're using, or you don't find anybody to love in the next 20 minutes, I think it's our own society's programming that it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, let's say you did the magic every single day. You did the magic to have someone fall in love with yourself. And every single day, you keep feeding that card, you keep feeding that energy, you keep feeding what it is that you want. You've even made lists so you can really see what this is. But what's interesting at the end of that month, you're looking better, you're feeling better, you're laughing more, your friends are commenting that you're laughing more. Your friends are like, "God, did you get a haircut? Did you lose weight? Something about you has shifted."
Mm-hmm.
And it's that shift inside of you that you've needed that entire time. And it took more time than you expected, but that shift happens. And when your friends are seeing it, who are your best mirrors, I think, besides your, family members, these are your friends are your best mirrors. And as soon as you see the change, magic has already happened. You've done the work. You're going to continue to do the work, but there's something different. There's something that's now going to happen, and wow, bam, then you're going to meet somebody.
Yep.
It's
On multiple levels in that scenario, you have
yeah,
become more attractive because you are closer to your true self.
you're being authentic. Yes,
So
you're
it's,
being your authentic self.
people just need to pay attention. Now, there is one more thing
Yeah.
before I really want to talk about some of the tarot cards and the magic. Would you tell people, hey, I hear it time and time again, well, they cast a spell. That's evil.
Hmm.
That's manipulation.
Oh yes,
And I
evil
want to
card. I
smack
forget.
my head when I hear that. Because it's like, really, folks, it's not manipulation.
Mm-mm.
How would
Manipul.
you handle
Go
that?
ahead.
How would you respond to those people?
So there is no evil in magic, like there is no evil in prayer, right?
Hmm.
There's no evil in wishing someone well. There's no evil in praying for someone to feel better. Even if you really don't like that person today, but you're still going to pray for them anyway, you're coming at it from a maybe not so healthy perspective, and you're not so happy with that person, but you're still praying for them anyway.
Hmm.
You're It's still good intention. Now, are there people out there that have used magic, prayer, in manifestation for evil things or for bad things? Let's call it bad. Yeah, because that's what they want.
Hmm.
It aligns with them and however they want it. How often does that happen? I don't know. I really don't know. But magic is all about your intent, just like prayer is all about your intent, just like manifestation's about your intent. Is your intent good? Okay, good. Is your intent bad? Mm, okay. Let me talk about a gray light, a gray area here. 1 year, this is right after I moved to Los Angeles and I was poor and my rent cost more than the square footage of my apartment by three. I was doing a lot of handcrafted gifts. I was beading gifts,
Hmm.
little tiny, teeny, itty bitty seed beads. And it was a holiday time, and I really wanted some Christmas movies. I really wanted to watch some good holiday movies, but I couldn't afford cable. Couldn't afford it. And so I kept thinking, oh, I really want it. I really want it. I really want it. And somebody suggested You know what? Sometimes they forget to plug in, or in those apartment complexes, they forget to turn off the cable. Why don't you see if you have it? I'm like, I hadn't even thought about it, plugging my TV in to the cable box. Sure enough, plugged it in, and I got my holiday movies. But here's the kicker. A week after Christmas, I lost the cable access. It was gone. And to be honest, I didn't need it anymore. And it was gone. So that's a gray area. I wasn't really hurting anybody, but I was also getting a service for free. Um, but I don't work with any evil deities. I don't believe in evil. I believe my intentions are good for myself. I also live by the idea that harm none. I believe that the spells that I cast are ethical. They're good for me and for the world around me.
Hmm.
So there are rules that I do follow. Kind of like I know the Christians follow commandments. There are common sense things that we follow when we use magic. Why wouldn't there be? I guess for manifestation, let's throw it your way. How would you handle that same question, Mike, about evilness?
Intention, and I tell people, there, for me, there are three key ingredients: intention, desire, and action.
Mm-hmm.
If those three are aligned, then you're going to have an outcome that is in alignment with what you want. People that have poor intention, their intention is that they want to hurt somebody. Their desire is huge, and their actions go about showing that they want to hurt somebody. Something is going to happen, but it's going to happen to both people. It's really not going to have the outcome that anybody wants. That's the intention. That's the inherent duality, positive,
Mm-hmm.
negative. What did somebody put into what they're doing?
Right.
If they are a negative person, they're going to have a lot of negative outcomes. And some people are focused on that. Okay, have a ball. I choose not to be around that.
Right. So it's the person, not the tool, not the manifestation. It's the person that chooses that energetic course.
Hmm.
I would say, okay, and that's exactly the same thing when it comes to spells, rituals, or magic. It's the person that's doing it. And if I'm a good person, I know you're a good person.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I just, I've also tended to stay away from those who don't understand spells and choose not to learn, or not just spells, but magic in general, and choose not to, like you were saying, just they don't get it. They don't
No.
want it. And they
Either
just want to
that
be
or
mad.
they are out for nefarious
Yeah.
ends anyhow.
Yeah.
I hear a
So,
lot of people talk about dark magic, dark spells. Okay, it's not so much that it's a dark evil kind of thing, it's the energetic and the intention that people are using it for and what they put
yeah.
into it. That's what
Yeah.
makes it dark. That's what
It
makes
is.
it non-helpful, you know? The
So in the tarot, when we're learning this stuff, you've heard about the fool's journey,
hmm.
right? Okay. So the major arcana, um, I feel like the spells travel the manifestation follows the fool in their journey. And we were talking about earlier about those outside forces.
Hmm.
Those are the cards at the end of your journey. Cards, what is it, 15 with the devil going through the world card. Those are the cards where you're challenged. And I feel like if you can make it up to that point, then you've done the work, you've done the job, you've done what needs to be done. And whether it's good or evil, you've made it through all of those turmoils,
Hmm.
you know? Yeah. Did you
Curiosity
follow
now.
me on that road? Was
I
that a
do.
little dizzy?
Nope. I get that 100%. And at some point
Okay.
in time, we're going to talk more about certain aspects of the cards, whether we're talking about The major arcana, the
Yeah.
minor arcana, the court cards, things like that. We're
Yeah.
definitely going to do a show about those because they're
Oh, absolutely.
massively important. But I want to segue into when you are saying that you're going to do a spell with a particular card.
Hmm.
What kind of example do you have that somebody might be able to go, oh, I get that?
I would say love is such a big thing, right? So let's go with the Lover's card.
Mm-hmm.
So in the major arcana, the Lover's card typically is card number 6. And what I would do is if there is someone that I want to draw to me, I want somebody to enter my life. See, I'm already carefully choosing my words. You're going to learn how to carefully choose your words of what it is that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, in preparation for a spell, for something as important as this, you may want to sit and create a list of what it is you're looking for in that partner, or how it would complement you, or how it would help you, or all of that. And it may sound silly to write it out, but my first spouse would beg to differ because I did this. I wrote down, I can't tell you how many journal pages I've got covered in lists of what I was looking for in a person, and qualities changed over time. Well, using this lover's card, what I can do with that list is I can have that list next to me. I can have that lover's card in front of me, and I can take all of that energy, all of what I'm looking for, create that image in my mind, look at the lover's card, and just simply release, gather up all my energy until I can see everything.
Mm-hmm.
20 years from now, I can see us walking down the street. I can see us hanging out in the park. I can see us going grocery shopping. I can see us arguing over who should have taken that left turn. I can see all of that. Get in it, get in and get dirty, so to speak. And then I release it all out to the universe. And it may be this is where you go outside and you scream and you yell and release. Um, you could also light a candle and sit there and allow that candle to burn down. And then that releases it out to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of tools we could use. But it's not that complicated. Did I say too much? Did that
No,
make sense?
no, that's perfect. It leads me to ask a particular kind of question. When you are saying that you write things down,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be, this is me being facetious because I know better. Do you write down the color of hair, or do you try to focus more on the traits of the person that you are trying to attract? I mean, how
That's actually it's not a
specific?
bad question. It's not a bad question because what if I'm 5'2" and I'm afraid to marry somebody who is 6'7"? So
Hmm.
there could be, you could put a little bit in there. But no, I in the past have gone by the traits of what I was looking for. I wanted somebody that was smart, that was funny, musical. I had all of these specific things, and then I met Dawn by accident. Um, I
Accident,
met
she
Dawn because I
says.
asked a question. This is what it means to do the work. So after I put my intention out there that I was looking for a partner, I also was studying, trying to study, failing miserably, the Kabbalah. I wanted to study the Kabbalah. We talk about things to study. It's a pretty intense topic.
Uh-huh.
I went to my local metaphysical shop, no longer exists in North Hollywood, but I went there and I asked somebody that I knew, and I said, "Can you recommend a book about this topic? I'll do you one better." And takes me and introduces me to my future spouse. He introduced me to Dawn. I don't even remember who it was that introduced me to Dawn. I'm so sorry, and I wish I could thank that person for it. But I met Dawn, and it just went from there. And all of a sudden, here's this funny guy. He actually did he literally did stage magic. And he was a musician, and he was a writer, and he was a read. Oh my God, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it. But there it was. And we were together for 12 years.
It
Yeah,
seems like
we were
such
together
a
for 12 years.
short time.
Yeah. Yeah. And just so y'all know, I didn't divorce him. He unfortunately passed.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he ended up having pancreatic cancer, and mm, that was that was hard. But that was because I did magic. That was because I wrote down what I wanted.
And that's where a lot of people, I think, are having a little bit of difficulty because they're saying, okay, you know, you did this or you did that, or your spell was manipulated. No, it was not. This was two people that very much wanted a partner that had these qualities.
Yeah.
If I'm not
And I
mistaken, if I
didn't.
remember correctly, Dawn was older than you, correct?
Yeah, he was 21 years older than me. And
Uh-huh.
so I had not put that on my list that I wanted anybody older or younger or whatever age. That was not on my list. But he actually was a confirmed bachelor until I met him. And I not quite sure how I changed his mind, except that I think um he and I were in that initial discussion. I think what changed his mind was this. I was being my authentic self when he started describing if you like magic, if you like stage magic, we should go to the Magic Castle sometime. I was brand new to LA and vaguely remembered watching a PBS special about the Magic Castle of Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
which is an exclusive magicians club in the heart of Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles area. And before my brain could catch up to my mouth, I said, "The Magic Castle? What's that? Your bedroom?" And I completely threw him off guard. And I heard the biggest belly laugh I had ever heard at that point. And he and I just could not stop talking the entire night.
Mm-hmm. And this is what people need just to remember
Yeah.
when they are doing, whether it's manifesting, whether it's spell work, whether it's whatever. You've got to pay attention to your intention, what you're saying, what you're doing, the reasons why.
Yes. Yes.
Not so much the detail, but the major brushstrokes.
Yes.
All right, now, you mentioned, before we even started the show this evening, you
Hmm.
mentioned protection, a spell of protection
Mm.
using tarot for yourself or for work.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Okay. So imagine, if you will, 9 cards in a grid. So
Mm-hmm.
3 cards each row. The middle card of the second row is you. So find a card that represents you. I could use the Empress card,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, or the High Priestess. I'll use the High Priestess. Number 2. And it doesn't have to be a major arcana card. At this point, you don't have to put a lot of thought into it. Just grab one for yourself. Now go grab 8 cards that would act as your protectors. Knights are great. So if you want to put the knights in there, you want to grab some of the sword cards or any of the like the 6 of wands,
Mm-hmm.
where they're all marching off together. Yeah, it's got one person up on a horse with the wand, and then everybody else has got their wands and they're marching together. There's a whole army of folks supporting you. And then just put those cards around you. I like to put them in a box. You can make it a square, an oval, whatever. But you're in the middle. And define what the boundary is, what it is that you want to establish. For some, it may be a parent that's a little too passive aggressive, if you will, too manipulative, too much
Mm.
gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe you need to set the boundary of that you are not going to respond to their negative attitude towards you. So go ahead and imagine, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Um, feel it, feel the feels, see it in front of you. Put all those cards down and imagine they're all helping you do the work. Keep building up that energy, keep pulling it in, and imagine every single one of them. Continue to imagine, what are they doing? How are they protecting you? And send it out to the universe. And this is where I probably would hover for a second and do a little bit of future state. What does it feel like when they do reach out to you? How are you going to respond now? Now you're in that magical moment. How are you going to respond?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do with it? and see how you feel. And if you need to, repeat it. Go back through the spell again. Pull in all of that energy, all that protective, uh, all the protection that you've got on those cards laid out. Pull all of that in and then send it back out to the universe. And then go do the work. If you don't want them to talk to you, put your phone on silent. Mute their number. Whatever it is that you need to do to protect yourself. That's just one example.
Mm-hmm. See, and I like that because a lot of people, if they are working in corporate America or in the public, or they can use this
Yes.
in order to help facilitate what they are doing during a day
Yeah.
or to keep people at bay. You mentioned another one, and this one really caught my attention, was manifesting or doing spell work in tarot for a new job.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is one of my favorite ones. Um, there's a lot of cards that you could choose. And I don't have a specific layout for this, but Pentacles, so Suit of Pentacles deals with material matters.
Mm-hmm.
You could choose any card you want in that. I like the Ace of Pentacles because in the traditional Rider Waite Smith deck, it shows a hand coming out of nowhere offering you money. And so this is a new opportunity. It's a new possibility for you. And usually this is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Aces are also the beginning of a new cycle. So you want a new job. So choose a card that represents the beginning of something new. And it's all shiny and this is a good time. So I'll use that ace. And then once again, as I've been saying, what does it look like? What is it that you want? Same thing with love. If you've got something specific that you're looking for, write it down. How much salary do you want? What are the benefits that you want? What hours do you want to work? How much travel do you want? So you're writing the job description of what you're looking for. Why
Now,
not?
I'm
Right?
going to pause you there for just a moment.
Yeah.
People are listening to you saying, be very specific.
Yes.
And I know somebody out there is going to go, well, you just said not to be specific, Mike. No, listen, folks. When you are dealing with another person, you have to be present that you are dealing with another human being, another individual, someone that has their own free will, their own choice, their own aura. Okay? When we are dealing with a job, a car, something material, it's there in your life. It does not have its own volition, so to speak. It does not run around making choices. It does not get up and cook you dinner.
Right.
Okay? So people, when you are talking about things that are more immaterial, money, jobs, cars, homes, it is perfectly fine to be specific.
Yes.
Not pinpoint. I want a salary of $48,122. You're asking for problems when you become that specific.
Get a range.
You know, you are asking for a problem to emerge. But when we're talking about overt things, yeah, be specific. I need a job that pays me between $48,000 and $52,000 a year. That's my salary requirement. And then build upon that. Would you agree with that or not really?
I do. And here's the other thing is that sometimes we have a really hard time asking for what it is that we want. I know with a lot of people, it takes a lot of nerve to negotiate those deals, but it takes even more nerve just to say, no, I really want a job that pays me actually $60,000 and I'm worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to feel that confidently, um, is it's something to step up to. And I feel like doing spell work or ritual work helps you do that, helps you step up, and it helps you to make concrete. Even though if you feel nebulous, you might feel a little shaky, you may feel uncertain. Am I really worthy of it? Well, let's do the work. Yes, you are worthy of it. And I think that's a good confirmation of doing the spell work. You are worth it, damn it.
Yeah,
Excuse my French.
every stitch of it. And
Yeah.
it took me a long time to understand my own personal worth. I know
Right.
what I'm worth. I know what I should, if this is what it's going to cost. The supermarket has no problem telling you that a loaf of bread is going to be this price. They have
Right.
absolutely no problem telling you the gallon of milk costs this much. They have
Right.
absolutely no problem at the hardware store saying that new backyard patio is going to cost this thousands of dollars. You
Right.
have to be the same. You've got to be able to say, here's what I'm worth. And if that's $65,000 a year salary, then
Right.
say it. Don't beat around the bush about it.
Right.
Don't overinflate because you run into
Realistic.
the other. Exactly. If you are
Right.
unrealistic in what you are trying to do, you're going to fail. And then you're going to be upset. Well, how come I didn't get that $250,000 job? Because you didn't believe you were worth it.
Or is it a realistic expectation? Were you making $250,000 already? Have you, do you have the education, the experience, the connections,
Yep.
all of that to be worth $250,000? I don't doubt that we're all worth $250,000 on any given day.
Yep.
But in the corporate world where they have very different standards than what I would want, I have to be realistic in what it is that I want to create. And that's where that I keep talking about being realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if it's not realistic, well, how do we make it so? How do we get the raise that we're looking for? What is it that would be more realistic and still meet your goals, if not exceed your goals?
Mm-hmm.
So,
And folks, when you get what you are after, so to speak,
oof,
don't forget you can drop back and start this whole process again. You got the
yep,
$60,000 salary. Okay, you want more? Are you worth more? Expectation
yeah,
wise, is it really possible? Well, sure. Then start the process over again for the $80,000 job.
right,
Don't settle for something ever.
right,
Continuously be improving what you're doing, who you are, what you're worth, everything. Otherwise, you hit stagnation. And you get stagnation, you have a problem.
hmm,
That's when all the bad things start rolling in and you start believing them and it tumbles downhill.
right. And then you've got to start. You got to become the fool again.
Mm.
You've got to go back to the beginning, start over, look afresh, jump off the cliff with faith that something is going to catch you.
So,
That's how I see the fool. That's how I see journeys like this.
so there's almost any kind of spell that you could make, literally, with the entire deck of tarot. And it's not.
Did you know
Go ahead.
did you know that when Rider Waite, or excuse me, when Arthur Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith created the deck that they created, the major arcana, of course, was for big milestones. We know that. But
Hmm.
did you realize that the other 56 cards were supposed to account for all the other stuff that happens in our life? So, in theory, the tarot deck is supposed to represent all aspects of your life.
Yes. It is
Okay.
a person's journey. A lot of people don't realize that. They see it just as a divination tool, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
But
Oh
if
my
you
goodness.
if you lay these things out and understand what you're doing,
Yep.
it will show you the journey you have been on damn
Ooh.
near perfectly,
Yeah.
and yet it will still show you the journey you are going on.
Yep.
And that's where a lot of
Yeah.
people just don't get tarot at all. It's just a divination tool. It's just, I'm going to see what 3 cards come out today. No, no.
Is Frank going to propose today? No. Frank's not the one for you, baby. I'm teasing.
People that ask questions like that, unfortunately, still irk me. It's like, okay, is he going to propose? Okay. More than
Well,
likely, but you're looking for a magic bullet answer, and you want to know exactly when. Well, guess what? Chances are you're not
ugh,
going to get the answer that you like because you're trying to pinpoint, you're trying to force something to happen. That's a good question. Let's say somebody creates a spell and they use the tarot and they try
Hmm.
to force something to happen. What kind of outcome are they going to look at?
Goes back to the intention. If the intention is genuine, that they need a, let's say they want Frank to propose or get off the pot.
Hmm?
They want that. That's what the spell is. I gotta know, is this gonna happen? Are you ready for the answer? Because it's about to get real. If you believe in this, because you're sending that energy out there. If that's your intention to know the answer, get ready for the answer. You may, I don't know if I want to call it a quickening. I don't know that I want to call it that you're going to make things rush, but suddenly the universe is going to open up and possibly smack Frank on the side of the head and say, "What are you doing?" And Frank may turn around and say, "What are we doing?" So you might get an answer. It just may not be the one you want, Alice. Sit down. It's okay.
When
Um,
I find that when people create something that says the outcome either has to turn left or turn right,
oof.
they're not ready. They want it to turn left. And like you
Right.
mentioned, they are not ready for if it turns right.
Yeah.
And then their world falls apart because it turned the opposite direction of what they really, I thought it was really going to go. No, you asked for clarification and you pretty much demanded an answer. The universe is going
The
to come
universe
back.
was working on it, and the universe had you on the slow cooker, and you suddenly turned it into microwave mode, right? That's what it feels like. You want microwave mode, and you're not ready for how that turns out.
No.
That's just no.
And again, when we're talking about another person,
Yeah.
you've got to take all of them
Ooh.
into consideration of
Yes.
what you're asking. Did you
Yeah.
think about their feelings? Did you think about their past, about their own history, about so many things? And some people don't. Well, I want him to say yes to marry me, and I want him to propose in 2 weeks. Well, you have a problem. That
And I
may,
guess
that may or may
why
not
didn't
be the
Alice
problem.
ask? Why didn't Alice ask Frank? And I think that them asking that kind of question, which I know you've gotten quite a bit, and I've gotten as well as a reader, but you haven't been doing the work. If you're having to ask the cards, is that other person going to do ABC? Then why aren't you having a conversation with them? That's the bigger question. And I'm not a therapist, but where I think that's where that goes. And so those are the kinds of folks that who try to do magic and then turn around and say it didn't work, but you got the answer, Alice.
Yeah,
It's
it
not the
did
one you
work.
wanted.
It
So,
did work. You just didn't get what you wanted at the moment.
right, there's a difference.
Big time. Oh, tell me,
Yeah.
what one other spell and card is something that you find, I don't want to say more useful, more common?
Let me think. Common. Oh my goodness. You know, I would say let's go for the 10, the Wheel of Fortune. Have you ever had times in your life where it's just like everything is going wrong? The dishwasher goes out, the car isn't working. What else is happening? Oh, the septic tank needs to be pumped. Oh, wait, that's my life. No. So you feel like you're getting beat up. So the Wheel of Fortune card is amazing because it is a wheel and it represents life's ups and downs. And right now, all you're feeling are the downs, and you'd like that wheel to shift for
Mm-hmm.
some more ups. And so what you could simply do is this one you can do a little bit. You can be a little vague, a little bit, but maybe it's just asking for a little bit more supportive energy. Maybe it's asking for the wheel to turn to help to help show you ways to solve the problems that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe help you shift the energy. There are times I know, and we've talked about this, where I have felt stuck. I felt stagnant. I felt like um, everything I'm doing is just, ugh. It's not, it's just not working, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. And the Wheel of Fortune can help you get unstuck. And so that way you can get more positive energy to move forward. So yeah, something as simple as just asking for the energy to be unstuck. How do I do that?
It's, and this is something I've found over the years. Keeping things simple
Oh yes.
in nature. Don't
Yeah.
ask for complex things, because oftentimes the things that come with it to make it complex are
Hmm.
things that we don't want to deal with to begin with, and then it becomes a headache and a nightmare and God knows what else. But if you keep it simple, just like that, asking to be shown the next better thing,
Yes.
the universe will respond to that in a heartbeat and
Yep.
show you. Because it doesn't want you stuck. It doesn't, universe doesn't want you to be stuck in mud and
Right.
yuck and mire and all of that. The universe wants you to be prosperous, happy, laughing. That's what it wants for you. It's just we have
Right.
to be ready to do that same thing.
Yeah. So yeah, be ready to be on the lookout for that lighter, brighter energy. And sometimes the folks that we were talking about before, they send it out there and then they forget about it.
Hmm.
That's why I like the representation of the card, having that sit in front of me. Oh yeah, I did that magic. We don't need to think about it 24/7. That's why also having a candle to light next to it, or incense, or a crystal next to it, something that we can touch. Anytime that we could sit with that card that we did the magic with and reconnect with it, the more we're feeding the universe, the more we're reminding ourselves, the more likely we're going to start seeing connections.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to get my energy unstuck, one of the things I found, I didn't do a spell for this, but I did have a problem with my energy being stuck, and I stumbled across a tool, and it's a 100-day gold journal. And I love it. And it's helped me get out of my funk. Oh, and coloring books. I
Really?
stumbled across some coloring books, and I really love them. And that got me out of my creative funk too. That really helped.
Wow.
So you just got to be willing to turn your head and look.
It's something that we all have to do, is to be
Hmm.
able to take a step back from where we are, look at the bigger picture.
Yep.
Where are we in that larger picture? And then maybe make a new choice, a new direction, and do something. That's just to be able to get, like you said, unstuck. Well, Holly, our time is running out for this evening on this particular show. I know that we're going to come back and we're going to revisit tarot and magic, and
I'm excited.
we've got a lot more to talk about as far as major arcana and minor arcana and court cards, and even to go through the fool's journey with somebody, so that we can
Yeah.
talk about it. Going from here, we're starting here, and we've got so many things that we're going to be talking about.
Yep.
But let me ask, and I've got a slide for people to look at, but where can they find you? Because you teach
So for
classes, you get out there, this is what you do and who you are.
yeah. So I do teach. I will say this: I do teach at a local shop in town called Heart Mind Healing. It's in Gainesville, Florida. So if you were ever in the area, stop on by. But you can also find me virtually on Facebook at the Bluegrass Witch, or on Instagram at Bluegrass Witch, one word.
Hmm.
And eventually there will be a website that I'll be happy to share with you all in the near future.
That's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to the next time we get together. This
Me
this
too.
is always so much fun. I hope everybody has been able to at least garner a little bit of something new, something to think about. You know, again, tarot are so multifaceted, folks. It's more than just a tool to tell you about tomorrow. It really is. So people can
There it
go
is.
and they can take a look. If they're looking for information from me, go to psychicgraffiti.com. And if you need more information about Holly, on Facebook, The Bluegrass Witch. On Instagram, Bluegrass Witch, all one word. And follow her and check things out. Until next time, I hope everybody has a great week.